Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the weekly MMA Cycles Market Update. Today is the 10th of April, 2024, and this is Gianni DePoce, your host. We have some pretty important geocosmic signatures that we're coming out of right now. We had the solar eclipse on Monday that went across the heartland of the United States. And then today we have Mars conjunct Saturn. And needless to say that markets are on the move right now. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. Start off by looking at the Dow Jones Industrial Average. The big news of the day today was that inflation came in higher than expectations. So this is really causing the Federal Reserve some issues with respect to the prospect of rate cuts over the next few months. Now, coming into this year, keep in mind that, and we've been talking about this too, expectations were for the Fed to cut rates as much as 7 times. And if we rewind back to the 13th of December, that was the Fed meeting that Fed Chair Powell opened the door to a pivot and interest rate cuts. And we can appreciate this from the astrological angle that was the same day that Mercury went retrograde. And Mercury is still retrograde right now after going retrograde last Monday. So now the narrative surrounding inflation is starting to shift again. So is this another scenario where we're going to flip-flop and then maybe after, a few more weeks from now, we will reconsider rate cuts? But right now, it doesn't look like the Fed's going to be able to cut rates with inflation being this strong and the job market being this strong as well. We had a stronger than expected payroll reports last week. Now, the Dow is in the time band for an important low, and the NASDAQ is not leading to the downside. So I would not panic here, even though the market rallied on the prospect of rate cuts. If anything, if the Fed does not have to cut rates, it signals that the economy is stronger than expected and able to handle these higher rates of interest. Now, looking into the week ahead, there aren't that many geocosmic signatures, but next Saturday on the 20th of April, we have the much anticipated Jupiter conjunct Uranus. And we actually enter a reversal period for the overall market next week. So even if we do decline over the next couple of sessions, I'd be on the lookout for a low in the stock markets and eventually a return to new all-time highs. So seeing evidence that a low is imminent, but still want to see some more confirmation that we can go on to make new highs. Now, the big loser today, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at TLT to look at long-term treasuries here. This is an ETF, by the way, that we cover in the monthly ETF report that will be published next week, by the way. But inflation hotter than expected, bonds getting cracked, long-term rates leading the sell-off lower. And this is, again, going to put some pressure on the bond market, and the stock market is going to behave and react accordingly. So the sectors that have led the stock market rally, tech, growth, AI, may no longer be the leaders going forward over the next few months if interest rates continue to rise. Look for inflation-related trades such as energy, materials, precious metals have done very well, which it's a great segue into GDX, the gold mining ETF. It's down today, but the big decoupling that we've seen overall is that as interest rates have gone up, we've seen precious metals and especially gold mining stocks absolutely explode higher to new multi-month highs. I'm going to zoom out here just to show you the magnitude of this move. From that low that we had back in February, up over 34% from the low to the high. So this is no joke, and we need to keep an eye on this high from May of 2023, because if we take that out to the upside, look out above. I think gold and silver will continue to rally and bring shares of precious metal mining names with them. Let's take a look at USO, the crude oil fund, down a little bit today. This is also a market that's in the time band for an important low, and Jupiter conjunct Uranus. Jupiter is the co-ruler of Uranus. And what's interesting about that, the timing of that signature, is that it's exactly 4 years from the hyper-deflationary low of April 2020. That occurred when crude oil prices actually went negative. So Jupiter conjunct Uranus is happening on that same day, 4 years later, and we're in the time band for, at the very least, the primary cycle low. So we could see a big rebound higher, and if crude oil continues higher, it's not going to be all that good for bonds, and inflation. It's going to push that higher too, so be on the lookout for that as well. Also seeing some big currency markets, USD JPY finally break something that we talked about in the Forecast 2024 book. So if you haven't had a chance, we are running a sale. So be sure to check it out, because we talked about this, how the Bank of Japan is going to have to make a big decision. Do they want to intervene and defend the yen? We just broke through the price level that they had to step in last year and defend the value of the yen, but they may have to change their monetary policy going forward. So this is the currency pair to watch. As you know, there's some pretty interesting aspects coming up with the Bank of Japan's natal chart. The first one being the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, making some really important aspects. It's actually going to be opposing the North Node in Scorpio, and we know that Scorpio has a lot to do with debt, and so ties into currency markets. The Bank of Japan is going to have to make with respect to their debt markets, the Japanese government bond market. So keep an eye on that. We're also seeing the dollar rally strongly against the euro. Big red candle or bar today, lower high confirmed. I don't think this is a new primary cycle. I think we're going lower on this front. And last but certainly not least, let's take a look at cryptocurrencies holding up relatively well. We've been in the time band for an intermediate term cycle low here. Hard to tell if that's already happened. Also in the time band for a primary cycle low, but this is definitely constructive price action forming into a triangle formation. This is bullish, I would say, and I think we could look for higher prices, especially if we hold above this $60,000 level. Was looking for a more pronounced drop before, but I don't know if that's going to happen. If it does, it probably won't last long. But as a rule, any market that consolidates or corrects through time instead of price usually ends up being more bullish. So that takes care of all the charts and markets that I wanted to review with you today. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button. We do post a couple videos per week, and I do have a nice lineup of some special guests set to join us in the coming weeks. Just yesterday and on Monday, we released our monthly cycles report. That is MMA's flagship report product, been in publication for over 40 years, and that's where we update our readers on a monthly basis on our outlook for stocks, bonds, currencies, and commodities. And this weekend, we'll publish the Shanghai report actually on Monday. And then next week, in the middle of the week, we will release the monthly ETF report. So that's all for now, everyone. See you same time, same place next week. And until next time, take care.